We're going to turn to the last question for the evening, and I want to note that several people asked a question about what was the motive of those who didn't show up. Well, these are not the people to answer that question. They are here, so I thought it was better to spend the time hearing their opinions. But given that your opponents have chosen not to be here this evening, I'm going to ask each of you, would you consider another event between now and April 1st if your opponents would be available for another forum like this?
Do I start?
Yes, thank you.
Very much so. I did take the initiative over a month ago to start the dialogue for a forum that we're having today. All 4 candidates were invited. I think it's very important for people to be able to look the candidates in the eye and ask their questions and have people answer and evaluate people based on them being in front of you instead of mailers and instead of other things that might influence you. Mr. Bansky, I think, answered within, I don't know, a half an hour and did a reply all email indicating that he would indeed attend. He was limited to 2 days during that course of that week, which the other 2 gentlemen were then aware of. They did not respond. When they did not respond by their official campaign emails, I wrote them personal notes on a copy of the email that I had sent them and mailed it to their homes. So they were certainly aware of the event, in my opinion, unless their email and their post person is not, delivering to their homes. The first I heard that they weren't coming is when, quite frankly, Sarah Pryor told me. So I had assumed that perhaps they didn't want to be part of the event, but they would certainly come. I think it's very important for us to have another one. To that end, I have reserved the room on Monday night this coming Monday at the Citizens Bank. They have a large room there. And I would invite the candidates to schedule something there. If they perhaps want a different venue, that's certainly fine. But I will come to any location, at any time, with any moderator, with whatever format they would like. No questions asked. They just need to let me know when.
Mr. Bansky.
In short, yes. The answers that I've given to you here tonight, John Merrick and Brian Fisher are sitting in the back of the room. It doesn't matter if they sat here in these front seats. It doesn't matter if Mike Dorr and Jim Radke want to sit here, want to sit there. It doesn't matter. Truth is truth, and you should be able to say that regardless of the venue that you're in. So I'll go with my short answer, sure.
Okay, so that brings us to the time for closing statements. We're going to start with Mr. Bansky. And you will each have 2 minutes, and hopefully in addition to kind of maybe wrapping up your ideas, you'll also talk to us a little bit about your vision for the town's future.
That's a lot to squeeze into 2 minutes, and since I'm first, I'll go fast. My vision for the town is largely where it's been. Certainly we're going to have development opportunities, and we're going to have to look at those and evaluate those, and the town will continue to change, but I'd like to preserve its culture, its sense of community, the core DNA of things that attracted me to want to raise my family here. And that'll be a piece that guides me as I make decisions and look at things that come to the town. I certainly don't like, as a political person, dealing with some of the campaign rhetoric and the misinformation that comes to you. Some of it I hold near and dear to my heart. You may remember back last year when you received this little lovely note from Mr. Fisher on your mailboxes. One of the things that struck hard on me is that our fire chief and the members of our volunteer fire department are tremendous assets. German and I fully support them. Van Sock and Bansky do not. I'm confident that Merrick will. My brother's a fireman. My other brother's a police officer. I look at each one of those firemen, and I said so this past week. When they go into a fire and they're protecting our property and our lives, I view them as my brother, and I want them to be safe, have equipment that is safe, and I want them to be effective and have equipment that is effective. That is supporting our fire department. when you see campaign rhetoric that comes out, I would tell you to chalk it up for what it is, campaign rhetoric. And call me and ask me about it, and I'll tell you, just like I was sitting here, what the truth is about it. There's a lot to be said about our bickering, and I've got my 30-second window. It's not bickering when you stand intelligently on principle. It is not bickering to say that I don't believe that we should tax to the max and to stand firmly in my beliefs of not taxing to the maximum allowed by law. That is not bickering. That is having principles, and those principles are what you should vote on. And those principles are what I will stand on, and I will not waver on them. They have been on my website since 2010, and they have not changed. They are there today, josephbansky.com. It is the exact same information from 2010. I leave it there as a reminder not only to you as to how and why you voted for me in the first place, but more a reminder to me about where I was when I walked into this forest, what trees I identified, what I wanted to be as your elected person, and I look at it frequently to make sure that my ship is still staying on course.
Ms. Mitza?
When we moved here in 1984, we had plans to stay through retirement. And I served my community beginning in 1995 as a Plan Commission member. I have a real estate background and a business background, college educated, and felt if my background was helpful and wanted to serve my community, I started then. I had no vision of ever running for office. It would never even entered my mind. That came to be with the events of February of 2010, when the previous town board made a decision that, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the full rest of the Plan Commission, which, by the way, are citizen members of the Plan Commission, you and I, all of us voted against the division of land that started the Lather situation. It was clear to me at that point in time that there was a problem here at the town. We were not looking out for our future. And we all have a very large investment here. We all think that our homes should be secure if we secure them. And I think it's a responsibility of our local government to identify issues when they put us at risk and to do something about it. I did something about it by getting involved in the recall and then stepping up to be your town chair. They were very difficult times, very difficult, very challenging times. But we addressed the issues, we were positive with the results that were needed, and we were successful with those. We didn't stand down, we didn't step down, and we haven't done that even in the face of very significant negative campaigning and rhetoric. Principles stand for what they are. My principles haven't changed. It's really a question of, will the voters see who's standing on principle and who's trying to pull the wool over your eyes? I'm proud to be your previous town chairman. I hope to serve in the capacity of supervisor, because a lot of the institutional knowledge here at the town is lost, and we need to make sure that we remember the decisions that were made so we make good ones in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you for accepting the invitation to discuss the issues and to care enough about your community to run for political office. Please remember that Election Day is April 1st. Polls in this community will be open, as they are throughout the state, from 7 in the morning until 8 p.m. I think we all know that there have been some changes in voting laws over the past couple of years. But please be reassured that if you've already registered and have been voting in this community for years, all you'll need to do is to come in and sign the poll sheet. You won't have to show any photo ID. We still don't have that requirement. Adults age 18 and older may register to vote at the polls so long as they have the proper documentation of their residency, where and for how long. You can obtain additional information about voting, including filing an absentee ballot from your town clerk or the State Government Accountability Board website. There is a brochure on the table back there about voting in Wisconsin, and I believe that website is identified in there. So that would be a great place to start if you have questions. Because we want every vote to count, please make sure that you know where and how to vote. We welcome your interest in the League of Women Voters. And we encourage you to take somebody with you to the polls. Thanks very much, and please vote on April 1st. Thank you. I understand that Ms. Van Sonk and Mr. Vansky are willing to stay and answer questions on an informal basis.
And we thank you very much for
You're welcome.